Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we will go through the 2019 April SAT exam, section 4, question 24. Now, the question is kind of wordy, so you might want to pause this video. And if you have done this question already and you know what the question is about, so just keep playing and we will explain this to you in a very clear way. So now this question, and I would consider that this question alone is the hardest question, kind of complicated on the entire exam for the math portion. So it says that there are two lines. Okay, there's a linear equation y equals to mx plus b, and there's an exponential equation y equals to b to the x power. They both contain points 1 comma 3 and 2 comma 4. If the point r comma s is on the graph of the linear line, okay, so you can see the information is getting piled up, and you have to make sure that you are not being confused about these information. And the point RT is on the exponential equation, where r is between 0 and 4 and s is greater than t. Which of the following must be true? Okay, now I hope you don't faint at this moment, because it's actually not as difficult as it is, but there are some key points you need to know. First key point you need to know is that they both contain points 1 comma 3 and 2 comma 4. That means if you want to, you could get these two equations, okay? Because they give you 2 points, so you could figure out what these two equations are. But should you do that? We will see. Now, number 2 is that, well, there's no graph showing you, and it doesn't tell you to draw a graph. If you have been watching the videos here, you should have heard from me that when they don't show you a graph, when they don't ask you to draw a graph, it doesn't mean that you don't do a graph. And especially in this kind of situation, well, you may want to do a graph just to help you visualize the problem. So it doesn't have to be very, very accurate, but it should give you a good sense. So you got a 3 right here, you got a 4 right here, so 1 comma 3 is here, 2 comma 4 is here. So you can actually draw a graph to show you that, hey, that is the equation. Okay, and as you can see, well, the line, it's having a slope of 1. And so if you want to find out the equation, well, just based on these 2 points, you can already tell that the equation of the line is y equals to x plus 2. Now, an alternative method is that you substitute in these 2 points into this equation, into the x and y values, and you can find out the slope, you can find out the b. Now, you can do that, but that's going to be very time consuming. And this is the reason why you really want to show a graph, so that it can save you a lot of time. Okay? Now, the really, really challenging part is, how well do you know exponential functions? Now, so let me just go ahead and do a little side problem here, side illustration, is that there are 2 kinds of graphs for exponential functions. Okay? So you can have this kind of graph for exponential function. So we call this a growth. Okay, so if you think about human population, you can think about bacteria growth. Well, that's the exponential function. Now, you can also think about the other kind of exponential function, which is this. This is called decay. Okay, and on the SAT, it's got to be one of these two. Okay, there will be no other kind of exponential functions. So then you think about the points that I showed you on the graph right here. Well, should it be the growth curve or the decay curve? Okay, should it be a growth curve or a decay curve? Which kind of exponential function would it be? Well, you can clearly see that it's going to be like this. Okay, because that's the only way it can fit the points. So it must be an exponential graph. Okay, so we have some basic information right now between the linear line and the exponential function. Now you may ask, well, is it helpful that we find out the equation of the line for the exponential function? I would say, now it's doable, but we don't want to do that unless we really need to do it. Okay, so let's just say we can do it, but let's just hold off the idea for the moment. Let's keep reading. Now it says there is a point R comma S and R comma T. Now R comma S is going to be on the linear graph, and it also says that S is greater than T. So that means R comma S must be higher than R comma T. And the R comma S is the linear function, and this is the exponential function for R comma T. So what we're saying here is, can you find out which portion of the graph that the linear line is positioned above the exponential function? Okay, let me repeat this again. Can you find out where on the graph, okay, with the two lines, where the linear function is above the exponential function? Well, it's very clear. It's this part. So while we say the R is somewhere between 0 and 4, so this is R, but one thing that must be true is that R must be in this region. So then we say B is the right answer. Now, the reason why I say this is a very, very difficult question because first, they pile a bunch of information in front of you, okay, that may overload your brain. That's number one. Number two, on the SAT, we do a lot of linear, quadratic, not so much about exponential function. So if you are taking Algebra 2, then you might be learning about exponential function, but if you are not yet learning it from school, then it's a very new topic, so that may give you some trouble. And third, okay, they give you a lot of variables. Y equals to mx plus b, y equals to ab to the x power, r and s. It just makes the whole problem very confusing. So to make sure you know how to answer this question, that would be, well, draw the graph. Really draw the graph. You can see how easy to visualize the problem when you have a graph in front of you. And this is always the weakness of students not scoring, well, for those who are not scoring well on the SAT. They overlooked the importance of graph. They don't know that they could draw a graph and seize every single opportunity to entertain the idea that, hey, let's go ahead and see what the graph looks like. Because that would really give you a clear idea of what it may or may not be. And in this case, you can see how we don't really need to do any kind of algebra for a lot of them. We don't have to spend a lot of time to do the algebra work, and yet we can still get the correct answer. Isn't that nice? Okay, when I was practicing earlier, I was trying to figure this out earlier. I actually substituted the numbers to the y equals to mx plus b to find out the equation. But then I was like, no, that's too long. SAT questions won't ask you to do so many things. So here's another tip for you. If you feel like doing a lot of work for an SAT problem, you are quite likely on the wrong path, especially when you do a lot of work and still don't know if you are going to get closer to the answer. So this is how you get smarter. It's by drawing graphs. Okay, so keep that in mind. Have a good habit. Draw graphs, visualize it, and it's going to help you a lot on the SAT exam.
Do you want some extra credit? If you do, subscribe our channel. I promise you will learn a lot more and get extra credit from that. If you have any question, please make sure that you email us at goodacademics@gmail.com. If you have any question in math, science, or education, just send them in and we will do our very best to resolve your problems. And I thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that you will continue to learn a lot more through our channel. See you soon.